Do you know that breastfeeding isn't enough for your baby after 6 months of age? Baby needs to be given complementary feeds, which helps in improving the physical growth, mental growth, and the immunity of your baby. In this video, I am going to share everything regarding complementary feeding. Right from what kind of food you need to be given, what amount of proportion each food should contain, how many times you need to breastfeed the child, what is the correct time to start complementary feeding, what are the do's and don'ts. I am Dr. Sharath, consultant pediatrician and neonatologist at Kompally. Some tell you need to immediately start when the child enters into 5 months. That means he completed 4 months and entering into 5 months. And some tell only after completing 6 months of age you need to start the complementary feeding. So the correct time of starting complementary feeding is after 6 months of age. This time is scheduled so because till 6 months of age, exclusive breastfeeding will help the baby to reach the calorie target and to continue the physical growth of the baby. After 6 months, the baby needs some extra energy in the form of semi-solid or solid foods. So these are called complementary feeding. That means you are complementing the breastfeed with certain other feeds. So 6 months is the appropriate age to start complementary feeding. But if your child is not on exclusive breastfeeding, then you can start complementary feeding as early as 5.5 months, initiating with only fruits. Coming to what type of food you need to initiate in your baby. The main proportion of a complementary feed contains 4 main parts. First one is the staple that forms the major quantity of the food. The second thing is protein, that may be animal derived or plant derived protein. The third thing is vitamins and minerals, that is mostly derived from fruits and vegetables. The fourth thing is energy. Coming to the energy is derived from 3 parts. Carbohydrates form around 50 to 60% of the energy, proteins around 20 to 30%, and fats around 20 to 30%. The major form of energy which we give in kids is through ghee and vegetable oil. So what kind of foods you can introduce to your baby? Most of my clients, I say to start with some kinds of fruit. So initially at 6 months of age, you can try fruits like banana, papaya, mango, sapota, and apple. Apple should be steamed, then a puree should be made of apple, and then you can feed the baby. Coming to staple food. Staple food provides maximum mass of your complementary food. So this can be multigrain powder, roti, dalia plus milk, rava, ragi, bajra and khichdi, rice and dal. You can also start on puffed rice, multigrain bread or brown bread. Coming to the protein part in the complementary feed. Protein is both plant derived and animal derived. Plant derived, as a part of the complementary feed, you can add on dal, soya bean in the form of protein. Different kinds of pulses can be used. Animal part of protein like egg, milk can also be started. Egg white can be introduced around 7 to 8 months of age as a part of protein. Vitamins and minerals are a major part in the complementary feeding that most of the parents miss. Please supplement the complementary feeding with some kind of vegetable like carrot, sweet potato, radish, palak, aloo, bottle gourd, etc. You can chop the vegetables into small pieces and use it in khichdi, dalia, and the upma which you make for the baby. One type of fruit per day should be introduced in your baby. As I already told you, fruits like banana, papaya, mango, sapota, apple pruning can be used. To make the complementary feed extra energetic and to get a good weight gain in your baby, you'll have to add on ghee, desi ghee, and if ghee is not available, you can also use vegetable oil like coconut oil and groundnut oil in the food. You can supplement a 6 to 8 months baby with half spoon of ghee or vegetable oil. For more than 8 months of age, you can use 1 tablespoon of ghee per serving. Sugar and curd also can be added to increase the caloric value of the complementary feed. If the baby's weight gain is on the lower side, then you can also use mixed dry fruit powder, which can be roasted, then ground into fine powder and can be added in the complementary feed. The dalia, ragi, upma, khichdi, in whatever food you are serving to the baby, you can just add on a spoon of dry fruit powder. That increases the caloric content of the food and makes the food interesting for the baby. The consistency. You need to initially start with thin, slimy, consistent food. Then slowly increase the thickness of the food. At 8 to 9 months of age, the food should be so thick that it will not fall from the spoon when you bend the spoon. At around 1 year of age, the food should be solid enough so that the baby can hold the food and put it into the mouth of the baby. That means the baby can self-feed at around 1 year of age. So he can easily pick on the food. This helps the baby to self-feed and makes the food more interesting. How many times the baby should be breastfed when you have started complementary feeding at different stages, like from 6 months to 1 year of age. As shown in the table on the screen, between 6 months to 8 months of age, start with thick mashed food. The frequency of feeding should be 2 to 3 meals per day, and it should be supplemented with frequent breastfeeds. The average amount of each meal should be around 2 to 3 tablespoons full, and then you start increasing the feed. Between 9 to 11 months of age, the texture of the food should be finely chopped, mashed food and food which baby can pick. The frequency should be between 3 to 4 meals per day. Breastfeeding based on appetite. The average amount of each meal should be half of a 250 ml bowl or cup. That means a full bowl, half of the cup should be given on each serving between 9 to 11 months age. For a 1 year to 2 years old child, the texture is the same food which the family is eating. Family food can be given chopped and mashed if required. The frequency of breastfeeding should be minimized to 3 times a day in more than 1 year old babies, so that it will not compromise the caloric content. Avoid forcefully feeding the child, threatening him to eat, and anger while feeding. It's all new to him and he has just come into the world. So give him some time so that he'll adjust to your feeding habits. Some of the practical aspects are: you need to maintain hygiene. The food should not be too cold or too hot. The child's dislikes and likes should be considered while feeding the child. You need to avoid feeding bottles. After 1 after around 14 months of age, completely remove using feeding bottles with nipples. Use a cup so that the child drinks from the cup. Precautions which you need to take during complementary feeding. Start one food at a time. That means if you are introducing banana today, for the next 3 to 5 days, you need to continuously give the child banana. By doing this, you'll find out if the child is allergic to banana, if he's having any loose motions, if he's having any vomitings. Then you can consult your pediatrician. If mother, father or some family member is allergic to certain kinds of food, better to avoid these kinds of food before 1 year of age. So if you are allergic to peanuts, better to avoid giving the child peanuts till 1 year of age. After 1 year of age, do not feed the child milk more than 3 times a day, because milk fills the tummy. That means the volume of milk is very high compared to his caloric content, and gives him a satiety so that he'll not feel like eating food. Before giving him milk, try to give him semi-solid food or solid food, then give him milk, because once the child drinks milk, he gets satisfied, he gets satiety with the volume and the fat content in the milk, so that he'll be not ready to accept the complementary feed which you are giving the baby. Avoid high sugar containing foods like rasgulla and high sweetened foods. Avoid canned foods and junk foods to be avoided. These increases the calorie content and the child may become hyperactive unknowingly. Avoid giving him maida, which are seen in commercially available bread and biscuits. So multigrain made biscuits can be still used. Hope this video helped you understand the importance of complementary feeding, what kinds of food you can start on complementary feeding, what should be the frequency of feeds, what should be the frequency of breastfeeding the baby, what is the consistency of the complementary feed, and what kind of foods to be avoided. If you have any further queries, you can comment in the comment section. I'll be happy to address the doubts. Thank you.